Hey guys, it's Woody the Unexceptional Gamer, and I'm playing a game of Headquarters on Drive-In with my friend T-Mart. I like Headquarters okay, it's not my favorite, but we're mostly playing it because T-Mart had just prestiged and we're trying to get him ranked up and stuff like that because when he doesn't have the perks that he wants and such, we can't play the competitive stuff. So Headquarters is a nice way to rush through that. But that's not what this video is about. What this video is actually about is going to college. So it's not about whether you should go to college. That's not my goal. But some of you are about to head into college right now. As I record this, it's July 31st. I think I'm going to upload this today. And yeah, so a lot of you are going to be college freshmen. You don't really know what to expect. And I thought I could help you with that. A lot of you don't know my background, but I went to college during the day for my first 2 years, and by the time my whole college experience was done, I think I went to like 4 different colleges. I had 2 bachelor's degrees and in accounting and MIS, and then I had a master's in computer science. So not that I'm, some sort of, academic genius or anything, but I've been to a bunch of colleges and maybe can help a little bit with that. So I've taken my advice. I've taken some notes here and I broke it down into 2 categories. The first one is logistics and the next one is happiness. So first let's talk about logistics. Yeah, all right. You'll need sheets for your bed. The sheets for your bed are twin sized, but they're not your normal twin size sheets. They're extra long twin sheets. Sometimes they're called a college twin. Sometimes they're just called long twins. But what you need to know is that there's tons of them for sale right now. In the summertime like this, when people are stocking up their dorm rooms, Target, Walmart, etc., they all carry these things. If you need another set in like January or something like that, then you're going to have a much harder time finding them. You might not be able to find them at all unless you order them online. So in terms of sheets, it makes sense to buy 2 sets, the fitted sheet, etc., and that'll get you going. A carpet for floor. So when I went to school, not all dorm rooms were carpeted. Instead, they had like this, tile floor. So I went online and checked, and I see now that there's a split. And if your floor doesn't have carpet, it is totally worth it. It makes a huge difference in terms of acoustics. And then you don't get like these nonstop crumbs all over your feet where, it becomes, totally yucky, like to crawl into bed every day as you'd sit there and like wipe off the bottom of your feet because they're filled with crumbs and that sort of nonsense. So get a carpet. Check with your college on your computer. I mean, even if you're a computer genius of one sort or another, the college may have a standard that you need to follow up with, and you'll find that your software doesn't run, or maybe your professor takes advantage of that. So check with your college and see if they have any requirements on what you should be getting in terms of your computer. Call your roommate and see who has what, right? Your roommate may have an Xbox, your roommate may have a television or the perfect radio or things like that, and you can fill the gaps. He may have already picked up a mini fridge. You totally don't need 2 mini fridges in your dorm room. So call that guy and see what he has. And by the way, mini fridges are awesome. And that's the last of the logistic notes that I took. So yeah, that's it. Get your stuff, work with your roommate, and make sure that your room is properly outfitted. The next thing is happiness-based stuff. So the first thing I wanted to talk about, a lot of freshmen go into college thinking that their roommate is going to be their new best friend. That they have this notion that the two of them will be close forever, that sometime when they're 40 or 50 years old, they'll still be, talking about their roommates and knowing and thinking about the times they had together like they're brothers. And while that might be true later on, of the roommate you have your sophomore or junior year, the roommate that you actually pick, it's probably not that true with the first roommate that's assigned to you your freshman year. And I'm just kind of sort of setting expectations here. He might be a good guy, and hopefully you get along with him and make an effort to be easy to get along with on your behalf. But don't go in thinking that this roommate who just got assigned to you it has some kind of like plentyoffish.com super connection with you, because that's not going to be the deal. Instead, he's just going to be a random person. He might be sloppy, he might not be compatible. You might just be oil and water. Who knows? But don't go in there thinking that your roommate is going to be the center of your social life. Branch out a little bit. Another thing is, if you're sick, go to the campus doctor. If you're like I was coming out of high school, your parents were kind of in charge of your health, and you didn't really think of it. You took it for granted. If you were sick, they decided whether or not you needed to see a doctor. They decided I don't know, they just sort of took care of you. They'd see you scratching your head and they treat you for your lice. Now you're in college. Now it's the first step of your own independence, and your college will have a doctor on campus, and he'll be able to help you through all sorts of random crap. So anyway, if you're sick, be sure to go to your campus doctor, get yourself some help. Don't be stupid. And it's easy to be stupid because you're 18 years old or 17 years old and you've never done this before. But yeah, I'm going on a long time about this, but there's all sorts of little things in your life that your parents took care of up until now that you'll be taking care of on your own, and you have to make some good decisions there. Another thing, you'll probably break up with your high school girlfriend. If you go to another college or even the same college, but especially if you and your girlfriend start splitting up and you find that, she's in Texas and you're in Maine, then this is going to break up. And by the way, I'm saying college here. If you're European, then what Americans call college, you would typically call university. I know you have something called college too, but we're talking about university here. Anyway, you'll probably break up with your high school girlfriend. It's not as painful as it sounds. What happens is, the two of you go to your separate colleges. You start seeing other people who catch your interest. She starts seeing other people who catch her interest. And, while you might think like, oh my gosh, she means so much to me, etc., the normal story and the way that it plays out typically is she means a little less to you as you start to lose her. And, you find in your own heart that somebody else means something to you, and she's local, and that's the way it goes. So while you don't have to actively dump your high school girlfriend, although you can if the two of you aren't meant to be forever and you're just finding yourself, you're like, oh, we've been dating for 3 years because we haven't had a reason to break up. You could level with her and say like, hey, we're going to separate colleges. I don't see us getting married. Do you want to just, make this official? Or you could go to college separately and let it kind of drift apart on your own. That's up to you. But you'll probably break up with her. That's the normal case. These last two things I want to stress, especially, and we'll see maybe this time for more than two. But here's a big deal. This is a perfect time for you to reinvent yourself. If in high school, I don't know, maybe you were an emo type guy or a hipster, or who knows what. Maybe you're a jock, or maybe you were a class clown. And while that may have been a perfect fit for you in 9th or 10th grade, now you find that that's not who you want to be anymore. And, there's another version of you that you weren't able to sort of really pursue. Because, this high school is not a perfect time to reinvent yourself. And people have these expectations of you. They start saying you're not being the real you, as if they get to define what the real you actually is. And now you're going to a new place. Now, most of the people that you're going to school with are strangers. And you can be anything you want to be. There's no, set expectation. Anyway, I don't know how to say it better, but now is a time to reinvent yourself. Take some stock of who you want other people to think you are. Take some stock of who you aspire to be and be that guy. And that's it. Were you shy in high school, but you want to be a little more outgoing? You've got it inside you to be somebody different. Then seize that opportunity. Do your thing, and it will be better for you. So yeah. Now's the time to reinvent yourself. Do it. Be the guy that you want to be, and that'll be step 4 on my little happiness notes here. The last thing is, don't cling from people from your old high school unless you're actually best friends. So what happens is, whatever, you go to a high school with 1,000 people, and then you find yourself in a college with 15,000 or 40,000 people. And of those, maybe, like 4 of them or 9 of them from your old high school, maybe more. But you guys weren't necessarily tight in high school. You weren't best friends, but because he's familiar, because, you weren't enemies or anything, you can spend some time with him. Don't do that. Don't close other doors just because you sort of know this guy and you're clinging to the old. Don't just grab onto something familiar and lock in and, not meet all the new guys you could have. You're in a dorm room. They have a lot of sort of mixer type activities for freshmen, and not necessarily dances or whatever, but your freshman orientation, you're going to be filled with people who are open to making new friends because they're in the same position that you are. They're open to making new friends because they don't have many friends in their neighborhood. And if you say like, hey man, you want to get a bite to eat, or hey sweetie, you want to get a bite to eat? I wouldn't say sweetie, that because it's not the 1920s anymore, but yeah, there are people who are open to meeting new guys more so than they would be in high school. Like, I bet if you think back to your high school, you'll say like, yeah, whatever, Dan's a cool guy, but I could never be friends with him because Dan and Brian are inseparable, right? Those two are that. Those sort of locked in friends who are off the market don't exist in college. Everybody is on the market. Everyone is open to meeting new people and hooking up and forming their new social group. And don't miss that opportunity by clinging on to a couple guys that you knew from high school that you're not all that psyched about anyway. So that's the key takeaway. Allow me to repeat myself. Don't miss the opportunity to make new friends because you're clinging to a couple guys you knew who just happened to be in the same town as you were when you were growing up. To tie into some of the things I talked about before, be confident and take an interest in other people. Don't sit there trying to sell them on your past accomplishments. Don't try and sit there and I don't care if you were the captain of your football team back in high school, and they don't care either. Your past and your reputation mean nothing at your new school. You have a clean slate, and that's really a cool thing. So just go there and what's inside you. Oh, this is another cool thing. When you're in high school, what you look like plays a huge role in how popular you are, etc. Now, when you're 40 years old, no one really gives a crap what you look like. If you're balding, if you're fat, if you're tall, if you're short, at my age, like I don't really care. I care much more about what's inside you. College is somewhere in the middle. People still judge you based on what you look like, but not as harshly as they do in high school, where it seemed to be everything. It seemed to be the beginning and end of your popularity. So be confident, keep your chin up, and listen to what people say, and be likable by taking an interest in other guys or girls. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is academics. Now, I don't mean to be your, overbearing father on this thing, but here's the deal. My experience is every level of schooling I went through, and for Americans this will make sense. In high school, you were probably this guy, if you're going to college, who could coast in high school and then catch up anytime he wanted to and just, get the grades you wanted to do. You could catch up, whatever. It was flexible. It's like running against someone who's really slow. You goof off, you sprint, you're fine. In college, if you fall behind, it becomes so much harder to catch up because they're moving at a much faster pace. They're covering so much more volume of material that you can't just goof around for 2.5, 3 weeks and expect to be able to absorb everything like you did in high school. At the master's level, it was different yet. I had to run full speed just to keep up with the class. And, one might guess if I was at the PhD level, I wouldn't even keep up at all. So my advice to you is don't fall too far behind in college. Do your reading, do your work, because you can't just slack and catch up like you used to be able to do. So I hope you found this helpful. And now for 2 videos that you may have missed. The top one is a competitive game with callouts. I play a doubles one with T-Mart on the Game Dunzo servers, and it turned out pretty well. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback about it. People have enjoyed the video. One of the things that made it special was there was some drama with the players that we were playing against. They were whatever. In the competitive world, sometimes people are unpleasant to be around. It's just sort of part of the competitive gaming culture, and these guys fit that stereotype. The bottom one is it's Painkiller Ready 63. Some of the coolest parts in it were Wings of Redemption telling us about the Battlefield 3 alpha that he's playing a ton of lately, and he also, I asked him how he met his girlfriend. Wings of Redemption has a serious girlfriend right now, and he talks about how he met her, what their first date was like, and stuff like that. And she actually chimes in and gives her recollection of it. And I don't know. For me, it was a really cool part of the show. So I hope that you guys like one of these and have a nice day.